We're live! And I have got questions for you. What opens with President Eva in a battle in her mind? And what opens with President Eva in a battle for her life? If you guessed the Quad Season 2, Episode 3, My Bondage and My Freedom, or if you saw it in the title, you're correct! Thank you so much for clicking on the video or joining us live and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. If you're already a subscriber, which I know you are because it's very simple, you just press the red button that says subscribe and then you're a subscriber. So why wouldn't you do that? Help a sister out. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate you. Let us proceed. Okay, so we have President Eva Fletcher. She is leading the students. She's having one, this is a dream sequence. So she's leading the students and they're like troops and they're running, move, move, move. And then they're like white men and she's trying to get into the building and they're standing outside the building and the white men are like throwing books at them and they're dodging and ducking and you know, they're, it's grainy film and it looks like a old war movie or something. And they're blocking the entrance to the building. And then Dr. Fletcher gets into the building and she's like, come on, young people, it's time to free your minds. Okay, so we see President Eva, she's meeting with the Student Government Association. And she's talking about, you know, the partnership and your tuition keeps the doors open. And there's a recommendation that we sell off property to ensure our solvency and our independency. Now, P.W. Hall is outside of the gates of the campus and in great disrespect. And the students, some of them are like, hold on, no. That is one of the founders' buildings. And is that why you're trying to merge with the university system? Because we are not fit to govern ourselves. Is that what you're trying to do? We are not supporting this. And then President Fletcher is like, me either. I wouldn't be supporting this, except that there's a clause. There's a buyback clause. So that we have the option to buy it back before they do anything with it. And the students are like, well, that's the only way that we would even consider this foolishness. So we see Bryce coming into the room and Cedric and Brownwin are, you know, they sexing, they getting busy. And they like, he said, it's like, didn't you see the sign? And Bryce is like, yes, but I needed to get into my room because I got stuff to do. Y'all need to open the window because it smells like booty butt up in here. And then Brownwin is like, oh, I'm sorry, Bryce, we're not trying to be inconsiderate. And then Bryce is like, oh yeah, he was. And then he exits. Now, I'm missing something about what's going on with Sid and Bryce. So Brownwin is like, what's wrong with your roommate? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And Cedric is like, how do I know? Shoot, let's get back to doing the do. And Brownwin is like, boy, bye. I got a class to go to anyway. You rude. And then Sydney, we see Sydney and her roomie and the journalism student. The journalism student is like, are you still upset? The journalism student comes in and she's talking to the roommate, Maddie, and she like, pajama jam, PJ jam, pajama jam party tonight, yep. And the roomie is like, I got an exam, I can't go. And the journalism student is like, do you have an exam or are you still stressed, upset about your ex? And Sydney is like, the ex, the latter, that's what's going on. And then the journalism student is like, I'll swing back by, get ready, we going to the party, jammy jam, pajama jam, and she exits. Then Sydney is like, she acts like she owns you. And the roomie is like, well, no wonder you don't get along because you think you own me. And then on the other campus of the, you know, it's 2 campuses now. The 2 band leaders. One campus is GAMU, and then it's another campus. We see sneaky band girl, Noni. We see Noni, sneaky band girl. And she's approached by the hazing drum major. And he used to be part of GAMU, but remember he got kicked out because she set him up to pretend like he stole the music because she was mad. I don't know if she was mad, but he had hazed her roommate to the point where the child was in the hospital and was almost near death and might have been brain damage, but she's not Ebony. She's back. Okay, so the drum major is like, you got what you deserve. She's like, you got what you deserve. And we both got we deserve. But even though we're back, you know, y'all heard about your embarrassment in the band the other day with Director Diamond. Oh, you thought I wouldn't know about you getting kicked out of the band so publicly and embarrassingly? And then, you know, march on. We don't need you here either. And then band leader number one, I don't know why I called him number one, but the other band leader, Mr. Taylor. Noni is like, hi, Mr. Taylor, do you remember me? Noni, GAMU, the Mighty Marching Cats. And Mr. Taylor is like, you a long way from GAMU. And Noni is like, well, we had a deal. Director Diamond's music for a spot in your band. And Taylor is like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then his phone rings and then he answers it. Hello, hello. And it's nobody, except it is someone. It's Noni, and she's cloning his phone. And she got what she came for, so she leaves. And then we see President Eva, and she's being visited by the vice president, you know, the guy who doesn't like her. And he's like, she's like, well, what have I done to outrage you now? Because he always just outraged by what she does. That's how she feels. And the vice president is like, you discuss money with students? And President Eva is like, do you know Rick Gallo, the gambling state president? Gambling state. Grambling. What is Grambling? I don't know. I'm blanking on it. But the president of Grambling, well, that's my friend. And he told me that in a small school, our students are our partners, and that we have to respect them and their tuition. And the vice president is like, if we sell off our campus piece by piece, we might as well be in the Georgia University system. We might as well join. Why don't you consider for once that your decisions are messed up, Madam President? And then President Eva is like, close the door on your way out. And then he leaves, and he don't close the door. Insubordination. Then we see Coach Eugene, and he's in his office, and in comes two goons. One talks and the other one doesn't talk. And goon number one is like, Eugene, you don't call, you don't write. How you been? And the coach is like, I told you I needed 30 days. And the goon is like, well, 15,000 is now 20,000. And Eugene is like, how did it go up? The coach is like, how did it go up? And then the goon is like, how do you think? And I thought that it went up through inflation or through exorbitant, like, you know, what are those people called who lend you money, but they're like illegal, like the payday loan people, but they're not legal. They should be, like loan sharking. I thought it went up due to loan sharking fees, but actually it didn't. But he's like, you know, how do you think? And then the goon is like, how do you think? You know, 30 days, and on day 31, I'm going to go visit your daughter's school. And then he shows him a gun, because the coach tries to get up on him, and he shows him the gun. And then coach is like, you threaten my kids again, and I'm going to kill you. And then, you know, they kind of go back and forth, and the goon is like, I made my point. And then the goon is like, let's go. Okay, so then we have Junior and Bojan, you know, two athletes. They walking on campus and they talking, and Junior is talking about the tutor, and yay, I'm glad Junior got a tutor, yay. And then they're approached by another jock with two smaller guys, and the other jock is like, hey, Bojan and Junior, I want you to meet Dwight Jenkins. So this is someone who they're trying to recruit to the school. He's like the biggest and the baddest star out there. All the schools want him. Who wants that boy? All the schools want that boy, that young man. Okay, so for his athletic prowess. Okay, so then, and it's his cousin Jamel, or his boy Jamel, or whatever, and he's a very wanted athlete, and Dean Petaway is like, hey, I see you met my nephew. So that's Dean Petaway's nephew, the little boy who was his friend when Bojan, the white guy, went to shake his hand. He ain't really shake his hand. I think he don't really do white people. I don't know. And then Dwight's daddy is like, you gonna be riding the bench. He's saying that to Bojan. And Bojan is like, huh? And Dwight's daddy is like, they ain't tell you that Dwight is gonna be running first team this fall? And Bojan is like, with all due respect, that's what I do. And the journalism student comes up. Now, I think Bojan and the journalism student have a thing going. And she pushes through. She's like, oh, I got Dwight Jenkins! Can I please interview you for my sports blog? And Dwight is like, yeah, let's do it. And then the journalism student is like, okay, first question. She like on the spot, this girl, she ready. And then Bojan's jaws are getting tighter and tighter. He trying to take his woman, take her attention, take his job. Who this little boy is. Okay, so then we see the coach with his two baby girls, like children. And he like, come on, babe, come on, watch your step. Come on, move, get in the car. He's hustling them out of a house into his vehicle. And then out comes a woman. That's the baby mama, ex-wife, we don't know. And she's like, they just got here. You cannot take them. This is my weekend. And then the coach is like, Jamil showed up on campus, and he says you owe him another $5,000 on top of the $15,000 I'm already trying to pay? Tell me he's lying. And then she looks down and then she's like, I was about to make enough money to pay off all the debts and do something nice for the girls. The player across from me, he had this and I had a full house and I showed it to Ramil and he knew I was going to win too. And the odds were in my favor. And, you know, she's talking that addict gambler talk, and coach is like, you will not see these girls again until you get some help. Don't let these girls, and then she's like, no, she's about to resist. He's like, do not let these girls see you acting a fool. Okay, so then we see President Eva, and she's at a meeting with, we're going to call him the real estate man because I don't remember his name yet. But he's the one who she's trying to get to buy the property. And, you know, my favorite sparring partner. And he's like, you know, good to see you, Eva. And she's like, sit. And he pulls out her chair and him and the other two guys. And they're sitting. The other two guys are on her side. They're like trustees for GAMU, that type or whatever. And then he's like, you know, we got a deal, and if we strike that, we can buy, you know, he's like, you know, we got a deal if we can strike that buyback clause. I mean, everything looks great except for that buyback clause. Now y'all know that's her main thing. And Eva's like, you know, she's running down information on GAMU's history, and you know, it's historically black and blah 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 blah. And it's Eva and she's smiling all up in his face. And, you know, we black people got to stay together. And this university, this institution was founded for the people, by the people. And it's all about black people. And I know that as a successful graduate of an HBCU, I know that you don't want to see us join the university system. And then he's like, I never thought I would see an Ivy Leaguer playing the black card. Let me toss this around with the rest of my team. And then we see Bryce in his room, and he's taking off his shirt, and his back is all bruised up. He's pledging. Now, I guess Cedric doesn't know anything about pledging. So the child's back is jacked up. He's being beat like he's enslaved or something. And Cedric comes in and he sees his back. He's like, what's going on? And Bryce pulls his shirt on. He's like, stay out of my business. And then Bryce leaves. Then we see Sneaky Noni, and she's on the computer. And Brownwin comes in and she's like, you are in the same spot I left you in 12 hours ago. Did you even go to class? What are you doing? And Noni is like, girl, I had to skip class. And then we see an alert on the computer. Alert, alert, it's beeping. And she's being tracked. And she's like, oh my gosh. And Brownwin is like, you need to wipe it or you're going to get caught. And Noni is like, I need the data. And Brownwin is like, 85%. You're not going to make it. And then there's an error warning. And then Noni's like, I got it. And then Noni gets a bag out of her closet. And then she gets a hammer out of the bag. And then she beats up the computer so that people can't track her. Okay. So then we see the coach in his office, and he's sending his shoes off to be shined. And the guy is like, you all right? Because, you know, coach is looking a little weird. And coach is like, yeah. And then Bojan enters, and he's like, hey, coach, you know, I want to talk to you. You know, I'm not worried, but, you know, Jenkins' father is telling everyone that he's going to start. And, you know, he's a hometown hero and everything. And Petaway, that's Petaway's nephew and blah. And the coach is like, but you're not worried? Look, that boy is going around, his dad going around saying that on all the campuses. That's how that, you know, that's how they play in the game. They trying to get the best deal that they can get. You know, you are my quarterback. You work hard. You lead the team. You got us to a championship. Chill. It's good. It's good. And then we see we're at the frat house where Bryce is being pledged, and the line is being hazed or trained, I guess, depending on your perspective. And his and you know, the guy's like, this guy, he just messed up my history. One of the people who's online, you know, he said something wrong. He messed up my history, and he's wrong. Everybody's wrong. When he makes a mistake, all of y'all made a mistake. And so then one of the people, it might be Bryce, he steps out and he bends over, and they get the thing and they beating them. And then we see that Cedric is watching all of this through the window, and then some people, I guess, see said, and then they come around and they confront him. They like, what's up? And he like, oh, you know, nothing. And he like, they like, what are you doing here? He like, well, if y'all want to be quiet, y'all should have kept your blinds down. And then by now the other people have come out, and you know, they're like, you know Bryce, you know him? And they're like, no, we don't know each other. I don't know anybody. And then they like, you looking at each other like you know each other. And then we saw you trying to holler at Bryce, and then you know, so that's it. And then we see Jennifer, oh no, okay. Yes, that's it. 3, 4. Okay, 4, 5. Okay. So then Bryce, you know, he shakes his head, and then right Right, get out of here, you outsider, they tell that to Cedric. And then y'all go on back in the house. And then we see Director Diamond, and he's listening to music, and in comes Sneaky Noni. And, you know, she's like, I got what I wanted. And then Taylor, I cloned his phone, blah, 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 blah. Here you go, blah, 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 blah. He's buying sex off the university's dime. That's awful, right? And then Director Diamond is like, it's a little embarrassing, maybe, but what else do you got? I don't want to embarrass Clive Taylor. I want to destroy him. And then Noni is like, I got it. Search and destroy. And Director Diamond is like, destroy and destroy. We see Sid arriving at President Eva's office, and I think she got him some Chicago style pizza. He from Chicago, I guess. And he's like, you know, I got your text. And President Eva's like, I need your help. And, you know, I need student support of this plan to get us out of this hell. And they respect you. They respect the way that you came back from Chantel's death. And you were an artist. They respect you as an artist. And you have been there for the students. And we need you. You know, we'll go bankrupt in a year if this doesn't fly. And then Cedric, as a sophomore who don't know nothing, he's like, well, you are a good president, as far as I can tell. And, as far as I'm concerned, you've been down with me since day one, so I'm down with you. And then we see Cedric, and he's walking across campus, and then Bryce approaches him, and Bryce is like, I'm out! And then Cedric is like, what are you talking about? And Bryce is like, I got kicked offline. And Cedric is like, you should be thanking me. And Bryce is like, you don't get it. I'm not gonna be a Sigma Mu Kappa now. How am I gonna tell my father that? And Cedric is like, shoot, they putting their hands on you. And Bryce is like, that's like a gang where you're from. It's the price of admission. And Cedric is like, and I wouldn't join the gang because I ain't letting them put their hands on me either. And then Bryce is like, this was my plan my whole life. And now, because of you, I lost something that I care about more than anything. Thanks for ruining my life. Exit Bryce. And then we see Noni at Clive Taylor's campus. And there's a band rehearsal, and then, you know, it's being dismissed and everything, and then Noni stands up and she's like, I just heard your first saxophone rehearsing. That's her position. And you are in a lot of trouble. You need me. And Taylor is like, why are you back here? And Noni is like, I was taught to fight, and I want to be in your band, and you need me. And Taylor is like, okay, give me your phone. And then so you don't accidentally record our conversation. And then he's like, open this music app up. And then she opens it up. And Taylor is like, oh, this is full of P-Funk and Parliament Funkadelic or whatever. You weren't even born there. What you know about this? You did your homework. And Noni is like, shoot, these are the people who influence everybody that I listen to, everybody that I like. They influence is still strong. You know, they talking music. And I want a spot on your band next year. That's what I want. And then Gamu's hazing drum major is watching the whole exchange, like, And then we see Eva calling James. James is the guy who is going to buy who she trying to sell the building to. And he's like, I'm not sure about doing a deal with you. You know, I'm researching some other options, and these options don't have no buyback clause. And Eva's like, I'm going to prove that we need to close this thing. And she's walking and talking, and the student crew is behind her, and they're marching. And she's like, I'm inviting you to dinner at the president's residence. And then he accepts. And then we see the coach in his office, and in comes President Eva, and she's like, you know, how goes the Dwight Jenkins visit? And the coach is like, what you know about sports? She's like, I know this boy's a big deal, and it'll be good if we could get him on the campus. So what can we do to turn this into something? And coach is like, he not really into it. And Eva is pushing it, and she's like, it's hot recruiters money. And then Eva asks, are you okay? Everybody can tell he's not okay. And then he's like, yeah, I'm cool. And she's like, well, call me if you need to talk. And then we at the pajama jam, and Junior Jenkins is excited. He's like, oh my God, this is just ooh ah. You know, you see the people dancing and, you know, scantily clad and grinding and carrying on. And Sydney and Maddie and the journalism student are there. And Sydney and Maddie, you know, they get on the floor and they dance. And then Maddie catches the eye of Dwight. That's the little boy, young man that they're trying to recruit. And then Sydney catches the eye of the guy that she had a date with. Remember, she had a date with the guy. And then when it came time for her fast behind trying to have sex with him, she was like having flashbacks of when she got raped. And so he was like, it's okay. She's like, leave me alone. Don't pity me. So he's still, you know, interested in her. And then we see Bo and Taisha. Taisha is the journalism student, and they're arguing, and he's jealous of Taisha and her gushiness over his competition. Because she's like, oh my God, that was the best interview I've ever had for my blog, and he's the greatest. And Bojan is like, you know. And then the fight jumps off, and then with Bojan and Jenkins' boy, who came up to Taisha was like, you okay? You need help? She like, I'm cool. And he like, cause you know, I don't like white boys in the first place, so I'll jack him up. Or, you know, he ain't say that, but that's what I was thinking. He was, you know. And then, you know, there's a fight that breaks off, you know, kind of jumps off, but it doesn't really get into anything big. And then Sydney is leaving and she tells Maddie to be careful. And then the guy who likes Sydney offers to walk her home, the guy she had a date with. And she's like, oh, I've already called the campus escort. So the people come, they like, you Sydney, come on, let's go, we'll walk you home. And then Maddie is dancing with Jenkins, all hot and heavy on the dance floor. And then we see it, you know, morph into hot and heavy in the bedroom. And then they sexed and they having sex. So then we see Eva Fletcher welcoming James, who's the guy who's going to buy the real estate, for dinner. And he's like, you know, everybody has their way of closing the deal. He came in with a briefcase. You know, me, I like to close my deals a certain way too. And then President Eva is like, let me understand, your investors have approved the purchase? And James is like, yes. But come on, Eva, you know how it is. And President Eva is like, I'm a by any means necessary type of girl. Plus, I really, 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 really need this deal. If not, I'm not going to have a job in 6 months. We're not going to be here in 6 months. So I am out of options, but I need to be clear. There is no way in hell that I'm going to have sex with you. And James is like, this is just an offer to play a game. No sex involved. You have my word. Plus $5 million if you accept. And Eva is like, out of curiosity, what's in your bag? And then he opens the bag and she looks in. Now we can't see what's in the bag. And she's like, is that for me? And he's like, no, it's for me. And then Eva is like, I want to see the contract. So she's considering whatever's in the bag. We don't know what's in the bag. We like, oh my God. And then she's looking at the contract. And he's like, satisfied? Now, if you could just point me in the direction. And Eva's like, the bathroom is the first door to the left. She's still looking at the contract. And then he comes out in baby blue onesies and a bottle like he's a baby. And she feeds him from the bottle and from like baby food. That was so funny. We see Sydney waking up and she's realizing that her roomie Maddie is not in the bed. And she's calling and she's getting Madison's voicemail. Call me, she says. And then we see Sydney. She's banging on the journalism student's door. And she's like, and the journalism student opens the door and she's like, what is your problem? And Sydney is like, Madison didn't come home last night. Do you know where she is? And the journalism student is like, why would I? And Sydney is like, why don't you? I left her there with you. And the journalism student is like, she is a grown butt woman. You didn't leave her there with nobody. She wanted to leave, so she left. And then she slams the door in Sydney's face. And then we see Sydney wandering the halls in distress. Oh my gosh, my roommate is going to be raped like I was raped. And then she sees Maddie and she's like, oh my God, where were you? I've been calling you. You know what happened to me the last time that I left a party alone? And then Maddie is like, I was not alone. And then Sydney is like, what? And Maddie is like, well, you told me to get out here and to spread my wings. And Sydney is like, wings! I said, wings. I didn't tell you to get out here and spread your legs. And then Maddie is like, oh, so you brand new now? You used to be the Sydney the fearless. You used to be Sydney struggling not to be a victim. You used to be Sydney the, now you're Sydney the hurtful biatch. This is new. And then Sydney is like, I can't believe I wasted my time worrying with you. And then Maddie is like, well, forget you. And then she knocks on the journalism student's door as Sydney storms off. And she's like, can I stay here with you? And then we see Director Diamond's office, and the hazing drum major guy is there, and he's waiting for Director Di when he comes in. And Director Diamond is like, what are you doing here? And the drum major is like, you finally figured out that she did it, and you still have not apologized to me. And at first, Director Diamond is like, boy, get out of blah, 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 blah. But, you know, and the drum major is like, don't go. I'm going to come back. Wait. It's a very bad connection. I don't know why it's a bad connection. Wait 1 second. Okay, so it was a bad connection, but we're back. Okay, so then the drum major is like, you know, I'm trying to still respect you, even though you didn't apologize and you were wrong. You were wrong. And then I'm trying to maintain respect. And then Diamond is like, okay, hey. And then he's like, I've been thinking about calling you, and I've just been going through a lot, and I hope that you can accept my apology from my heart, and I'm really sorry. And then the drum major is like, you know, the worst part is that you got her over there sniffing around Taylor, and she's going to screw you again. And you are so blinded by her talent that you don't even see it coming. Now, I don't think he's blinded by her talent. I think he's blinded by revenge. Because when he had a health crisis and he found out, woo, I'm going to live. He wasn't like, I'm going to live, I'm going to improve my life. He was like, I'm going to live to get revenge on that guy. So it was kind of like, I think his revenge is like his problem. So then we see the coach in the bed. And he's in the house, he hears a noise. And so he gets his gun and he goes into the kitchen. And he almost was about to shoot it, but it's one of the baby girls. And she had broken something. And she's like, oh, you know, I got up to get some water and I broke this. And he's like, okay, I'll clean it up, baby. Go to bed, go to bed. And he sends her to bed. And then he sees a car outside. And he like, as he gets closer and he's investigating, then the car screeches off. The bad guys were watching. They could have snatched his daughter up, shot her, or anything. Now, I don't know why they watching. They told the man 30 days. It's only been 3 days. So, you know, I don't know what's going on. Then we see President Eva, and she's in her robe. Now, this is after she done, you know, let the guy act like a baby. And she was, like, feeding him. And he's like, gaga, goo, goo, mama. And she's like, no, here. She did her part, but she didn't seem to enjoy it. But, I mean, and but anyway, she done been through some stuff. And then she's opening the mail, and then she finds out, she's like, what is this? She finds out that she cannot sell the building. She done been through all of this because an application has been filed to make to mark the building a historic property and landmark, and there will be no changes while this application is under review. And she's like, she grabs her arm and she picks up her phone and she dials 911. She's like, I think I'm having a heart attack. And then she falls out. And that's the end of the episode. I am really enjoying the quad this season. I am enjoying that moment when he came out in that onesie in that whole scene and how she looked. I just thought it was so funny. And then now the woman is having a heart. I mean, that's not funny that she's having a heart attack, but it's like, oh my gosh. And then you've seen the next episode. So it's just like, oh my God, I've seen the next episode. I'm like, oh my gosh. But that's what I got. Today is the best day ever. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Be one of the first 1,000 subscribers. Get all of your friends and family to be one of the first charter subscribers. Yay. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous. You. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous.